How in the world are we going to fix this nasty dent on this brand new Rivian R1S without doing any repainting or body work? Well, if you stick around, I'm going to show you the steps we use to take this dent from this to this using what's called T-form, or tension-based factory original restoration method, in 23 hours. Stick around. Now, this won't be the first vehicle anyone has ever shipped to me from out of state, but I will tell you it is definitely the furthest anyone has ever shipped to me, all the way from California. This Rivian R1S, brand spanking new, unfortunately suffered this really brutal dent on this quarter panel. Really deep impact point towards the center, so whatever hit it was very sharp enough to push through the PPF, also into the paint, and all the way down into the metal, almost piercing through or puncturing through the metal. Now, I know the big question is why? Like, why would anybody ship their car this far away? And why would anybody attempt to have this sort of repair done on this particular vehicle? Well, the answer is this lady did her research. People are getting a lot smarter about the way they go about having their vehicles repaired. You know, it was either cut the entire quarter panel off, as you're seeing here, and replace it with a new uniside, the entire quarter panel section, which is all connected. A very invasive process. Or, you know, she could have gone this route, which was the repair process, the old-fashioned repair process, which involves grinding down the paint down to bare metal, and then pulling out the dent with, you know, or welding studs to the panel and pulling and then masking the area with this green body filler, and then basically just sand down whatever they can here to get it ready for the primer to put over top of that. And listen, let's face it, it's the lesser quality repair solution if you do it this way. And if you can have your repair done by literally reversing the metal back into position or just sculpting it back into position, even though there is a slight little bit of paint damage here, it's still a better quality repair. And that was the objective here. This lady had PPF, or paint protection film, installed on this vehicle to protect the paint, the factory paint finish, which this vehicle uses probably some of the highest quality paint finishes on the market, which I think is Glazerite. And she wanted to preserve that and wasn't willing to risk losing the entire paint job for that little chip. So the idea here was to basically preserve whatever we could as far as the paint's concerned, and then she's going to touch it up with some touch-up paint and then apply the PPF back over it when it's finished. And just so we're clear, I'm definitely not trying to demonize body shops, because, listen, we're always going to need body shops, but like I said, ultimately, if you can have the repair done this way, it is the better solution. So this dent is not just going to pop out as most people would assume. This one took a lot of thought. We're actually using what's called the tension-based factory original restoration method, and that includes basically applying some lateral tension from both directions, and also using direct tension by pulling on the dent. So in an effort basically to release this all in a simultaneous fashion, so it's essentially like we're reversing the damage, but it has to be done in a sequential fashion. Otherwise, you could easily ruin this repair. Boy, is it looking ugly, but I've trained myself in the last 20 years to be able to get myself out of messes like this. But definitely looking a lot better than what it was. And at this point, what we're doing is just applying some tension, as we saw before. And while it's under the tension, we're releasing a lot of the pressure that still remains in the panel that's kind of trapped in there. And it's time to go inside. So we found, through some research, some factory openings here. If you look closely, we can get in there with a pick and just get behind there. There's two holes that are behind this quarter panel wall, and that's going to allow us to gain some access with a tool so we can fine-tune this from the backside after all that glue pulling was done. And we use that one hole to do the entire repair, and basically use just one tool to do the entire repair. Of course, this tool is pretty versatile. Like, we're able to make some adjustments with the tool to, you know, for us to get into tight places with it. And that's the tool that you're seeing there. Then we're doing some just fine tuning, some tapping down, basically, and some sculpting with a blending hammer here. A lot of hours put into this one to get it back to its factory state here. You can see the chip there, of course. It's unfortunate, but you know, it's going to be, like I said, touched up, and then she's going to put the PPF over it. And I don't think anyone's ever going to know. So we're about to reseal that hole that we went through. We used a Q pad, which is basically like a sound deadening pad, and we formed it over the hole with some heat, and then applied some seam sealer over that, just like the factory had in there. And now we're doing some reinstalling of the parts that we took off to gain access to the dented area. And here's one last look at the before shot. Here's our after shot. As you can probably imagine, this customer is super happy. Hasn't picked up the vehicle yet, obviously. She's actually going to fly in and then drive back. I'm going to make a vacation, a Disney vacation out of it while she's here. And I sent her some videos, and she was pleasantly surprised and really happy with the end result. So again, we're going to go ahead and kind of reiterate what's going on here. PPF is going to come off and then put new PPF over the area once it's been touched up, and then of course you got the gap realigned there. So really do appreciate you guys watching. If you're a customer, have any general questions, you can visit the site at cfldentrepair.com. Or if you're looking to get into PDR or need some advanced PDR training, you can fill out the contact form. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate the time. Have a great day.